You're listening to Everyday Ham, casual conversations for the everyday amateur radio enthusiast.
Good evening, everybody. It is December 2nd, 2025, and this is the 1-year mark for the Everyday Ham podcast. We have officially done 12 of these episodes, unbelievably. So we are glad to have you if you are still listening here in December, our first year of fully podcasting. We still have lots of ideas coming, so I will reassure you. If you're looking to find us here on the web, you can find us at theeverydayham.com. You can find us on many of our different socials, including Instagram and Facebook and Discord and wherever else you find all of the podcasts that you like listening to. So I welcome you tonight. I have my esteemed colleagues, W8KNX Rory from North South Lyon, and K8JKU all the way up there in Clarkston, Michigan. This is N8JRD, your host again this evening here in the south of South Lyon in Grid Square EN82EK, and we do welcome you to the show. We have a couple of things to chat about this evening, but before we jump fully into it, I'll ask you guys, what is happening in the shack? We just got through Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Tell me something that is going on in your shack. James, you go first.
Yeah, I didn't spend any money on Black Friday, so that's a first. I resisted the urge. There was some good deals out there, some masts for POTA that were actually at a decent price for once. So
Killer.
Yeah, maybe that's a future buy. But I actually more have a question to the audience, and it's going to be hard to show for the audio-only folks. However, so
I'll try to give you an audio description.
I was saying, paint the picture with words.
Yes, thank you. So I have in my hand a rotary phone that is new old stock.
James is holding up a cardboard box with a rotary phone inside.
And he's doing his best Vanna White impersonation. So I got these rotary phones. I got two of them. They are in pristine condition. And the ask to the audience is, I need to know what I can do with these. Rory's suggestion was just put them in your house. That doesn't sound fun. I want to do something more ham related with them. Who doesn't love a crisp rotary phone? And that, let's see if we can get it on mic here, that sound when it turns.
I heard it.
Yeah.
That's fresh.
Yeah. So that's what's going on lately here. Nothing else. Trying to enjoy some last POTA before Christmas hits, and I'll be inundated with kid stuff at Christmas time. So all the joy and fun of that. So Rory, what do you got going on?
No new purchases here. I did well on Black Friday. The only thing purchased here was a new Apple TV box for my living room. But that's not exciting for ham radio. But in the ham radio world, I am looking forward to cold weather POTA, as we've discussed in the past. Most of us up here in Michigan aren't too afraid of cold weather POTA. If you do it on a reasonably sunny day, that little bit of solar when you're sitting in your car makes it comfortable enough. Running the car once in a while makes it comfortable enough. You can get in and out and do your contacts and get in and out of the park. So I've had some of my best activations in the winter. I did do a very quick 100 QSO activation out here at Island Lake in southeast Michigan here a couple weeks ago. I was surprised. They just kept coming, but the bands were there. The bands were cooperating. The people were there, and it was good. James, I'll throw it back to you, though, because you do have a tool for winter POTA that you've just added.
You're right. So you are going to be dropping on the YouTube channel here shortly our favorite things of 2025. And my bonus item was a heated seat mat. Or mat here for when I am winter POTing. I can roll this out and I can heat my tush and I can be happy and warm while collecting those QSOs. So
for those of you listening,
check out that video too.
Yeah. For those of you listening, it's essentially an accordion pleated mat that has little warming wires inside of it, and it's battery powered. So if you're looking to keep your butt warm and actually your core warm as you're POTing, a great option.
And people, by the way, are just going to start to think, if you're watching here, that I just have this magic box of items sitting over to my left here as I reach into nowhere and pull that magic string.
James has to sit in a lot of meetings at work, so he just he's ordering things while he's waiting.
I was going to say, I've seen your workspace over there where you're sitting. You do have a lot of fun stuff around there. So the only thing upcoming, and I think a lot of us are working on this, it is the 12 days of QRZ contest. And last year I did manage to get contacts on all bands 160 through 70 centimeters, including 220 and including 60 meters. So I was able to get 12 contacts at some point during this fun.
That was impressive.
It was. I'm going to try and do it again. We'll see. But it's a fun way to get on the air and play on the different bands and see how far you can stretch your very, very not good antenna. Jim, what's going on over there at the other end of South Lyon?
Yeah, I did make the sort of Black Friday specials video, and a lot of you folks did check that out, so I was excited to see that. In that video, I said that I was going to buy a few things, and I did control myself to some extent, but ended up with the POTA Explorer 33 mast, so that's brand new in the shack. Got it today. FedEx delivered it. Gigaparts always rapid with their shipping, which is awesome. And I unboxed it. I extended it in my bedroom, which is the biggest room in the house, and decided that it wasn't big enough to extend that mast fully. It's a cool mast. It's super light. I can't believe how light it is for being a 33-foot mast. Can't wait to get it out in the field and see how it performs. And so that is one of the new things. The other thing is, and Rory joked, we kind of go a little astray, but we're technology nerds here. And so if you're watching, I'm holding up a Ubiquiti 16-port PoE light network router. And if you know anything about Ubiquiti, essentially it's the Apple of networking products these days. It is awesome stuff. It is expensive to some extent, but it is very controllable. And us armchair admins at home get really excited when we put all of the Ubiquiti goodies in our stack of networking
Get lost
toys.
in that UI.
That's right. There is some really cool stuff. And you're probably asking, Jim, why did you put Ubiquiti in the house? And the answer is just recently AT&T upgraded us to fiber here in the neighborhood. So that makes podcasting a little bit easier because we can get a gigabit up and a gigabit down now, which makes uploading videos a heck of a lot more fun from my computer. So I'm basking in the fun of awesome network. It's been a long time coming here in South Lyon. And if you're not on the fiber bandwagon yet because it's not at your location, I hope that in the future it becomes available because it is really cool. So Ubiquiti, the new slang word in the house. I'm climbing around in my attic, putting up new APs and wiring new things, and I've been having a real blast with that. So that's all I got.
So, okay. Well, let's move into the main show topic then. So being December, on the cusp of 2026, we thought a good show topic would be is what are our predictions for 2026 and beyond?
That was epic.
So I got a little bit of a slide here, some slide materials, and what I want to do is go through them with you guys, and I want to see what you think is going to happen here in the future. So why don't we go ahead and get that started? And the first category I have is new rigs on the horizon. So we're talking all about hardware and radio predictions and what we see coming. So before we go into it too much, I'm just kind of maybe focusing on some of the major manufacturers and what recent releases they've had over the last 3 years. This is not an all-encompassing list, so everyone calm down if a radio wasn't listed here. But we saw a handheld, the THD75A by Kenwood, released in 2023.
Yep.
We saw Elecraft release the KH1, the mobile CQ machine that it was. We saw in 2024, ICOM released the IC7760, the base station mega rig with remote operation.
Slick.
We also, yes, very nice. We also saw, and that was one they teased heavily at Hamvention prior and everything as well. We also saw Yaesu release the FTM 150R mobile, and they also had some other mobile radios released in their lineup. 2025, we saw the FTX1 series released.
Biggest release of the year.
Biggest release by far at the year. Also, a lot of, I don't want to say controversy, but some ups and downs in terms of the reviews and
We made
feedbacks.
some controvery about that one.
We sure did. And then we also saw Flex Radio release the Aurora series, and then the IC7300 Mark II. I think at this point, Jim, you showed somewhere as
It's official.
Yeah,
they made 2025. They actually hit their date.
Amazing.
The government unshut down from the last time we talked to you guys here on the podcast here in the United States. If you're listening outside from the U.S., we appreciate you. And it got through the FCC. It's approved. And in fact, Chat Radio this afternoon sent me an email. They said they have 3 in stock. I checked right before the pod, and all 3 of those have been sold. I think if you have a pre-order for the 7300 Mark II, it's probably going to be on the way in short order too.
If you're one of those folks that pre-ordered and got one, let us know. We'll be happy to hear from you of what your initial feedback is on that. Certainly reach out to us in one of the methods that we use, Discord or email even. We'll be curious to hear from you.
Yeah, we're not a show with new radio money. for all of them. So yeah,
try.
definitely give you your feedback here. Yeah, I know you do your part, Jim. You definitely do your part.
Buy and sell.
So let's move into the questions here. So the first one is related to, will Kenwood finally release the TM D750A?
I'm giving this
This
now-
is a radio. Yep.
That's a radio I have new money set aside for, new radio money set aside for. Now, I've been waiting for this radio since I saw the first mock-up of it. Even before we even knew what it would do, we were guessing. Something about it, I enjoyed how it looked. I enjoy a Kenwood product. Kenwood products tend to be a little bit
top-notch.
Top-notch for sure. So even before I knew what it could do, I wanted it. So finally, last year at Hamvention, we were able to chit-chat with the guys at Kenwood and learned a couple more things about it. And they had said, what were they saying at that point? Fourth quarter of 2025.
Yeah, they had to go back.
Yeah.
They had to go back to engineering because of parts that were no
parts
longer
and
available.
components. Yeah, but they were. I would say almost promising this quarter, but we haven't seen it yet. Now, that could be a lot of reasons. They could have gotten lost in the government shutdown with FCC acceptance and so on. But my vote at this point, it's Christmas time and it's not here. I'm going with Hamvention would be my wager.
And Jim, really quickly, explain for those that don't know, what is the 750A? Explain the radio a little bit to them.
Yeah, the THD 750 or the TMD 750 is just basically an iteration of the handheld with a little bit more power behind the box, right?
So mobile radio. Yep,
you're exactly right. So if you're looking for a radio and you've already used something like Kenwood's D74, the handheld, or the D75, the one we just mentioned recently here on the channel, you're going to get that same experience. The UI looks very similar, but it's going to be in that mobile form factor, right? The brain box will sit under your driver's seat or wherever it goes in your car of choice. And then you put that nice color display head up on the dashboard and you've got all those controls at your fingertips. And what really stands out for the TMD 750A, for us at least, I think, is that availability of 220, which we are seriously lacking in many of the modern mobile rigs that we can buy with our money today. There are not any real modern mobile rigs that offer that 220 band. So if you're looking to light 220 back up, and I say use it or lose it, as do many, if you're keeping your tabs on the amateur radio community, I hope that this is a resurgence for the 220 band when it drops here, whenever that might be. And I agree with Rory. I'm going to go ahead and tack it on since we're on the question. I think it's going to be Hamvention. There's no other time for Kenwood to launch this with as much fanfare, and it's also the time when folks are arriving with money to spend on new radio gear.
You guys don't think that they may sneak it into Hamcation? Again, this is a radio that has had a long runway of release scheduling, right?
I'll have my new money in my pocket. New radio
gotta
money
be
in my
eager.
pocket.
They got to be eager. They're missing the holiday market, right? Right now, they're missing the holiday market around the world. I think they're going to be eager to catch those people maybe a little extra spending money in their pocket come February, and maybe Hamcation is when they start to sell it.
I love the idea. The sooner the better, in my opinion, for this radio, because there are folks that are waiting with reservations that are going to be happy to replace whatever they've got in their car right now with a much more tri-band capable rig. I think that as soon as Kenwood delivers it, they're going to sell out of these things. But It for me, it makes a lot of sense to launch it at one of the big events. Orlando Hamcation, I haven't been there yet. I'm looking forward to going with you two this year. We're going to be down there at Hamcation. So once I get a lay of the land, I hope that it's there. But I'm expecting it's going to be Hamvention. That's my guess for next year. James, I hope you're correct, though.
I have another provocative question for you guys.
Oh boy,
we knew they had to go back to R&D and redesign components issues. Which means it's been delayed. We have not heard anything about this radio through multiple Hamventions now at this point as well. So we're all the way through 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a radio that is on the horizon or on the list that could potentially be cut and unreleased?
Oof. That would be disappointing. Let's go to Rory for his take on that.
I don't know what my take is. I don't know that I have a formal take. I think the risk involved and the loss involved, they've got to recover some of those costs.
Yeah.
I think they've got a lot of time, and I don't think it would look good for Kenwood. Would they really take that risk and kind of just do that to their brand? I don't know that that's something they would do. It's I don't know that I think it'll be a thing. I don't think it'll die. If it has, I wish I had some data. I'm trying to think. That's what I'm kind of hesitating. I'm trying to remember if there's ever been a tease like this that didn't surface, and I'm sure there has to have been one. But that would be a big embarrassment for Kenwood, I think.
I think you're probably on the right track here. When I think about this, what new product has Kenwood really launched to the ham community in any recent past? And I'm not counting the D75 because it really was just a rebadge of that D74 with a few much wanted features. I'm not saying that the D75 wasn't a great handheld, and it wasn't a great radio in general, but realistically, Kenwood has not freshened up their line with anything in the memorable past that I can recall. So I suspect that, like Rory said, we're at the point of no return here. The costs spent on research and development are sunk, and there is no way that we're not going to see this one come out. They've got pre-orders taken. They've got folks that are chomping at the bit to get this one in their car. I suspect we're not at that risk level yet, but unless we don't know something about Kenwood that you do, James, go ahead.
No. Well, I'm going to say we got 3 hams right here that are salivating to maybe get that radio in their vehicles. So I think that's a pretty good sign that I think they'll want to bring it to market. The other thing, maybe this is pure speculation. I'm hopping on the speculation train. Choo choo.
Okay.
I wonder if they saw the FTX1 release and said, you know what? We better put this back in the oven here. Let it cook a little bit longer, and then we'll release it when it's 100% ready to go. All the firmware matching the software, the hardware, etc. And maybe that's why they're also delaying the release a little bit longer, because they don't want to botch what I think is a critical release for them.
You could listen to the Everyday Ham every once in a while and think that we really just dislike Yaesu, and I have to chuckle at that a little bit since everything that I own is basically Yaesu. So we are hard on Yaesu, but it's because they've produced some extremely nice products, and so if we are using them as the butt of the joke, the FTX one was one of those ones that did come out a little early. I hope that I think that it's a case study for sure. It came out a little bit too fast. It came out with bugs, and I think when Kenwood delivers this, with the exception of, I think there was a battery issue on the THD75 where the battery meter didn't show an accurate representation of the battery, which was resolved with a firmware release. They've been pretty good about releasing mature software on the radios that they launch. So it's an interesting piece of speculation. Rory?
I was looking, I think the newest Kenwood radio in the Kenwood line is their HFTS 990. I think that's the newest one.
Yes, 990.
So they have had a release in the last couple of years. I'm not sure the year, but so that's their latest new one. But
okay,
but the I don't know. You got me wondering, James. Are they really going to do that to us? I can't see it happen.
All right,
I just hope they're being careful.
We're going to move on to the next question. However, the general consensus is the 750A is going to be released. You two think it's going to be released Hamvention May timeframe 2026.
I'm saying Q1 2026.
Ooh. All right. That's not
right on the cusp. That's like right after it. But I say
okay.
End of Q1.
All right. Sounds good. Okay, so next question here is, who's going to have the next big release of radio? So this could be taking the 750 out of this real quick because we talked about that one. We're talking HF flagship, big handheld release, new hot QRP radio from Elecraft, anything new in the mobile space as well. What do you guys think's coming?
That's a hard one because ICOM has their HF flagship that's just out a little over a year at this point.
We got the Mark II coming out.
And the Mark II's coming out.
7760 and Mark II. Let's say the Mark II's out
out
now. It's December.
Right.
It's out.
Mobiles, ICOM's already announced the 5200.
I'm gonna tease you with something here. I'm gonna put something else out in the air.
All right.
FTX1 Mark II. Do we see that?
FTX1A.
You think they're gonna try it again, huh?
I mean, we talked about it when they originally released it. That felt like maybe it was a hardware iteration, and that they've done that in the past. Do we feel that may be a direction? Or they're gonna maybe release a, I don't know, more flagship and 891 replacement, a more true 891 type replacement?
I'm going to say a couple things out loud here first. So I think that on the HF radio front, I think we've seen a lot of our big releases that we're going to see for about 2 years now. I will be surprised if we see any major flagship HF radio releases here, with the exception, of course, of the Aurora, which I know is still shipping. And I do think that's an exciting radio for different reasons, right? Aurora brings what we already know from Smart SDR to the table, but it adds the extra 500 watts. So it's a little pigeonholed for me, but I think for HF flagships, Yaesu is going to be the next one due in revising their high-end 101D and MP models, because 7760 has introduced the idea of more modern connectivity with a removable head, a power unit that can be removed and made more easily attached to your antenna system if you're a contester. So I see Yaesu following some suit of not only ICOM but Flex Radio here in their next big flagship HF radio release. So I don't see it happening anytime next year. What I will say is, and I haven't heard much on this at all, is I think that the Yaesu HT lineup is due for a bit of an update. The FT3 and the FT5 were essentially very similar radios. The FT3D has been around for quite some time. The FT5 only really added a better speaker to that. If you've compared both of them side by side, I didn't believe that it would make a big difference, but I've got an FT3 and a 5, and the 5D did improve the speaker significantly. What it didn't improve was battery life. It is dismal on the FT5D. If you plug your FT5D in on the bay, charge it up in the morning and then leave for Hamvention, by the end of the day, if you're doing APRS stuff, C4FM stuff, and talking on the radio, that battery is pretty much flat. So what I would love to see here is a new HT from Yaesu that offers some of these things. And what I would really like to see is to slim that thing down. It is 2025. Miniaturized electronics are clearly a thing. We've got a lot of bulk in these radios. Bring those things down a little bit. So I would be really excited to see a new HT showing from Yaesu next year. I think that that's a more approachable project size-wise for them, because there are some recyclable things like the software interface and whatnot. But that is where I would like to see. And I will also say the ICOM IC 5200 is definitely going to be a big release. I don't know if we're going to see that at Hamvention this year, but I am hoping later in 2026. And I do think the ID 5200 is going to make a big splash in the scene. There are big ICOM fanboys out there, and it looks like a sharp rig. So I suspect that's going to be big too.
I agree
three predictions in one here.
No, I agree with you. And I think I think this is the year of iterations. They're going to come out with some revised models. I think you're going to see, now that the Mark II has HDMI, that is now going to push the market. You're going to see some I/O port updates, and please USB-C in handhelds.
USB-C.
Please USB-C in handhelds. Yeah. That's what we need.
Thankfully, we've jumped over that point, right? The European market has basically mandated that USB-C be available as a standardized charging option, which is why I think a lot of our manufacturers are adopting it, because it makes it easier to bring your radio into that market, right?
Yeah, and they're used to adopting USB-C into other electronic platforms. So therefore, you have engineers now that can bring that standard into the ham radio world a little bit more easy.
And I can hear people shouting at their podcast or their screen right now, "What USB-C? What's the big deal?" Right? It's not only for charging, right? It is for data connectivity. It's for the USB sound card. It's for programming your radio. It is a multi-use port that serves a tremendous amount of purposes, and it simplifies your connectivity stack in the shack. So if you're telling me
charging. Please let me have one cable for charging
100%.
too.
Yeah, if you're telling me, Jim, I don't care if it has USB-C, that's bullshit. I'll call you out right now. I think that USB-C, it is a bog standard. It should be an expectation at this point as we move forward with the radios.
Because I can tell you right now, as I have this FT5D in my hand, I have no idea where this barrel jack charger is for this.
Well, I'm looking at my table
rummage
here.
through a bunch of barrel jacks to find one that fits there and works.
Got to put it in the dock,
USB-C
man.
charging.
I'm looking on my table here. I've got the Kenwood D74. I got a DMR handheld, and I got the ICOM ID51. 3 different chargers. I mean, it's such
crazy.
A nice thing to get to one. I think it saves a lot of electronic real estates to get all those functions into one plug where you can do it. It's you want the Yaesu to do a smaller handheld. Maybe USB-C's their what they need to do. Yeah, I have a whole box of chargers for this nonsense.
Abandoned chargers.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's the old spaghetti in a box that you grew up with all the DVI ports and VGA port cables and everything else that was custom. It's time to catch on.
Standardize.
Hey, wait,
exactly.
did we talk QRP?
We can talk QRP. Do you got some QRP predictions?
Is the 705 going to have a reboot?
Ooh, that's a good one.
And you're banging on the door even with a 705 Mark II with USB-C updates, right? Because it didn't come with USB-C out of the gate.
Yeah, you walked right into what I was thinking, Jim. I was thinking that we have the 7300 with the Mark II. Are we going to see a 705 Mark II?
Yep.
All right.
And you can upgrade the existing Mark 705. So if you have one, there are boards out there. Go upgrade it. It makes your life easier.
Yeah, always. All right. Next major topic here is who's calling CQ. We are nothing but without the ham radio community and what everyone brings. So we want to talk a little bit about what we see in this area in the future. So this is always one that we hear a lot about. There's a lot of telethons out there to raise money for this cause, to get teachers educated, to get more people on the air. There's scout teams that have events, but will ham radio attract younger operators in 2026?
I don't know if it's because I'm paying more attention, but it seems like the college clubs in the Michigan area have had a resurgence in popularity. And I don't know if that's happening everywhere, but we all know folks that are very active with the University of Michigan Amateur Radio Club and the Michigan State University Amateur Radio Club. And both of those clubs are pretty active right now. Michigan State has just done a big update to their station, a whole bunch of new coax, a big update to their repeater system. And they've been playing in a lot of the big contests from W8SH lately. I'm curious if that's happening everywhere. POTA, of course, is bringing in. We see a lot of younger folks doing parks on the air because they see their family members doing it. That's a lot more attractive than some, and I shouldn't make fun of it because it's a legacy thing in my family, but you have old Uncle Joe in his basement with all his stuff, but maybe going out to the park and doing radio in the park is a bit more attractive. So I feel like we're reaching out to the younger group a bit more. That's just I could just be seeing it that way. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I do think that we're in a lucky spot here in Michigan and in the metro area. This club particularly that all of you know that we're a member of the South Line Area Amateur Radio Club, is a vibrant club as it goes. And recently, a bunch of new hams in the late 20, 30 range that have joined up, guys that are a little younger, that are fresh and getting into it. And the nice thing is we still have the folks that have been doing it for a while to mentor those folks and give them the good information on how to do the things. So I think we are in like the perfect storm of situations here. We are in between two excellent universities, both the University of Michigan and Michigan State. Choose your poison, whichever one you like, go green, go blue. And I think both of those clubs are reflective of just a very active ham community in the metro area. I think when we think about other states around the United States that are less population dense, maybe are not as lucky to be in areas with that younger crew, it's the picture looks a little bit different. But I do encourage you, if you're hearing this podcast, to think about the folks that you interact with daily and see if you can attract some folks. And Rory's a fine example of this at his work. He's pulled in a number of interested parties just in his conversations about the things that he does. Folks at work that have gotten interested in it and said, I think I could do that. And they've gotten on the radio. So we've gained some folks that way. And you can be out there sort of being the evangelist for ham radio in many different ways. You don't have to force it down folks' throats. But when you see somebody that likes technology, likes doing fun things with electronics, talk about ham radio with them. See, maybe if you can find a buddy, get those repeaters a little more active. James, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I purposely didn't define what is a young operator on purpose because I think it means anywhere your geographic area to yourself, 100%. It means something different. Yeah. I think for ham radio, the main focus of recruitment really should be the 30 to 40-year-olds. The ones that have a little bit more dispendable income, usually in their lives about that point. They're kind of revisiting hobbies that brought them joy. They maybe are looking for ways to relax and kind of explore new things and meet new people.
Friends.
Make friends. Because I think one advantage of our club is two things. We really do respect our Elmers that have been with the club for a very long time. They mean a lot to us, and they should, and they help us grow and be better hams. But also, all the club members, Elmers and the younger groups, everyone embraces each other. There's no judgment. There's support. We have a very vibrant Discord community, which we know is not for all the members. Some of the older Elmers, they don't really like to use the Discord, and that's okay. They understand that that's maybe something for others, and they kind of support it and work on their own way. But there's a vibrant network that we've built of all the members of that club, and I think that's one of the main thresholds. And also, I think number 2 is not even just young operators, just be cool. 2026 should be the mission of just be cool. Don't be a sad ham, be a happy ham. You can just talk to people about ham radio. Even my brother-in-law, who is not necessarily a technical person, I was talking to him the other day, and he was looking up SOTA because I talk about ham radio all the time and doing parks, and he likes hiking and going on the mountains in Colorado. And he was like, oh man, there's a 4-pointer right by my house. And I'm like, wait, what are you I was shocked. Like, what are you talking about?
He looked up the points. Nice.
Yeah, he was looking at even how to maybe get licensed and stuff like that. So just embrace it. I think the only way this hobby will die is if people make it a hobby that isn't attractive or kind to other people.
Isn't welcoming.
Is not welcoming, exactly. Better way to say that. So be cool, 2026, and let's continue to grow the hobby.
And that leads me to the line that I stole from Cecil from California, WD6FZA. That the line I've stolen for our area is leave no call unanswered on the repeater. You hear a new ham on the repeater. Some guy's got his new, where are we at now? Kilo Foxtrot 8 call signs in Michigan. I don't know.
It is all KF8s.
I think that's where we're at. You hear some brand new KF8 call, in Michigan or different letters wherever you're at. But you have some brand new guy, just got his radio. Yep. He's trying to make his first call. Don't leave that guy unanswered. That's how you lose people from day one. It might not be the favorite QSO you ever make with someone. It might be rough. They may not know what to talk about, but give them a couple minutes of your time. It won't hurt you.
Yeah. Grace, I think before we go on to the next question here, I was going to make one last point as well. I think a good topic for us in the future on this podcast, because we really do love talking about the ham radio community. Tell us what your club does well. How are you attracting new members? What tools are you doing to retain new members? How are you growing as a ham? Share that information with us. Put it in the comments. Send us an email. We'd really love to know and sort of share those best practices back to the community as well, because we have a way of doing it. And there's definitely a lot of other ways to do it as well.
Yeah, this year is probably one of the most exciting ones. I have not been around the Slark Club for very long, but I'll tell you, we have 20-plus people that are going to Hamvention this year. We have an entire leg of a campground booked full of club members that are going to party and go buy radios and talk radio and learn about radio and POTA and just do cool stuff for a whole week down in, at the Hamvention. And that's going to be really the types of things that we're looking for is what events are you doing? How are you drawing folks into your club? And if you're looking to get a club started, feel free to ping us and ask us some questions, right? We've got some really cool events that we've started here that have attracted crowds of all ages, right? We said folks show up, they have dinner, they have a beer, we socialize, we talk radio. So we're having a lot of fun with that. Go ahead, James.
All right. So moving on, the Who's Calling CQ topic. Will POTA/SOTA continue to dominate the activity in our hobby?
I will say that I am still very bullish on POTA as far as it goes. I think that there's still lots of interest here. I think that this continues to be one of the reasons that the resurgence of ham radio has really been as vibrant as it has been in the last couple of years. And kudos to the POTA community and also the folks that have put the hard work in on the website to make sure that that's a high reliability website that works the way you expect it to do, allows you to log and make contacts all around the world because POTA is not just in North America. We know a lot of our audience here is in North America, but it's a worldwide event now. And if you're not a DX contester, POTA is really that way that you could dip your toe, get on the radio, feel some achievement from doing the things that you're doing, and kind of have something to show for it, right? Some cool awards, some cool ways to show the activity that you're doing beyond just logging contacts, right? And when we think about old school ham radio, right? My dad kept a paper logbook, and I love it, right? I don't think any of his QSOs are logged online to this day, and he brings out his paper log every time he does, and I love that for him. But in this day and age, I think as we attract that new crew, the connected aspect of ham radio really is huge. And so POTA for me has really found that magic mix of connected, but also still rocking the ham radio old school, right? Doing sideband, playing CW, getting out on FT8 and trying new modes. That's what I love about it. SOTA, the same thing, right? SOTA is just a more challenging version of POTA. I don't mean that in a bad way. I think this is for the guys that like doing that harder version of POTA, and I love that too, right? So I think this will continue to be an awesome activity. I think we're going to be faced with some new challenges as the solar downturn starts to happen, right? The solar maximum has past us at this point. We've seen challenges on the bands. So you're going to find that the bands that are working are busier for POTA, and you need to be very mindful and respectful of how you're using your license when you're operating POTA. There are folks that want to use those bands for all kinds of reasons. So when you're out there doing it, let's make sure that we continue to adapt and use the bands the best way that we can as it becomes more challenging. So those are my thoughts on POTA. Rory, what do you think?
Two things come to mind for both POTA and SOTA. It's such a small barrier to entry, and it proves a couple things. People say, "Oh, I want to get into ham radio," but it takes all this equipment, all these antennas, all this power to get into ham radio. POTA and SOTA proves that wrong right away. You can get out and do a park if you're if you don't have the income for a brand new radio, you could go buy a used radio and take it out to the park with your wire antenna and be on the air and be talking to the world. And people ask me when I tell them that, they're like, "Oh, you're just trying to sell your hobby by saying it's that easy." Yeah, no, it is actually that easy. You can be on the air with a secondhand or third hand or wherever you got it from radio.
I love secondhand
and a wire. And I think that ease of getting on the air, and we've discussed it before too. All these folks that can't get antennas up at their homes for one reason or another, POTA, go throw an antenna up in the park and get on the air. I think it's opened the door to break down some of those barriers and cost and logistics that some people have struggled with. So I had my activation out at Island Lake here locally a couple weeks ago. 3 stations I worked were first time activators. There's new people doing it every day.
That's awesome.
Yep. My short answer here is yes. And
yes, and
while I was reading that question, I could almost hear the groans of non-POTA fans and contesters alike out there. And but yes, I think POTA and SOTA will continue to be sort of a mainstay in the hobby in 2026, and I think the growth it will continue to go up there. Rory, I'm going to start with you on this next question.
Do I repeat what I just said?
Do it, Rory.
Yeah. Will repeater activity make a comeback in 2026?
No call unanswered. When someone gets on the repeater, talk to them and say hello. Nothing is more exciting than the afternoon roundtable with everyone driving home from work, and you have 3, 4, 5 or more people, and they're just winding down their day and talking to each other and having a good old rag chew on the repeater. I hope repeater activity comes back. I think a lot of things have happened that will enhance, augment the return of repeater activity. There's a lot more linked repeater systems using All-Star that cover a wider area. That gets a wider group of people on there than you might find on just a local repeater. I think it will. I think the repeater is the basic backbone to local ham radio, but we have to all work together to keep the repeaters active. I mean, and some individuals and some clubs have tremendous investments into their repeater networks. And if we don't use them and we leave the 2 meter and 440 and 70 centimeter bands dead, well, the big old FCC will come in and say, "Hey, you guys aren't using that. We might need to use that spectrum for something else." And then it's gone. So keep the repeaters active, leave no call unanswered, and I sure hope it comes back.
Yeah, I've enjoyed doing a lot of repeater stuff this last year. I also have enjoyed playing with some other sorts of activities, like we've done nets that have involved transmitting pictures, right?
Yeah.
We've done slow scan television on the repeater to encourage folks to try using the repeater other ways, really just to bring up that activity, right? And that's the type of experimental stuff that I think that you have to try because, again, traditionally slow scan has been, HF radio, and that's the only way you can send it at distance, or you have a buddy up the road like Rory and I, we can send SSTV back and forth because it only takes a few watts. But when you talk about maybe doing new things is bringing new activities to your repeater to encourage the engagement level, to encourage building comfort with the repeater so that folks do feel okay about just throwing out their call and looking for a response. That's definitely what I want to continue to see here. And it's tough sometimes, right? Because it's a busy day all day long. And I think that generally speaking, it can be hard to answer every call. But I love what Rory's saying here is it doesn't have to be a long queue. So even if you say, hey, Rory, I'm in the midst of something, or I got to go in 2 minutes, but I just wanted to say hello, let you know that I was out here, and hope your drive is doing okay, right? And it could be as easy as just one call back. At least Rory's going to call back the next time he gets in his car instead of saying, I'll just turn on satellite radio and listen to a jam instead, right? So
I think you mentioned the slow scan activity on the repeater that we did here. That's one of those things. If you have an idea in your area about an activity to do on your local repeater, reach out to the trustee or the club that operates that repeater. Yep. Most people are very open to getting their assets used and get their repeaters used.
Yeah. And we saw a radio crawl, almost like a pub crawl, but to different repeaters.
Repeater crawl.
So that was something.
There we go.
That was something that started in Wayne County, which is essentially Detroit, Michigan. During COVID, Keith, KD8ZSK started that up just out of the blue. He got a hold of a bunch of different repeater trustees and said, hey, we want to do an organized test of who can hit which repeaters and do it in an organized way and keep a log so people can test their equipment while they're sitting home during COVID. So they started out big. They did like a list of 20 repeaters, and you went online to get the list and you did the order and made each stop, and someone logged how you were heard into that repeater. And it got a lot of people realizing their systems, their antennas at home got out further or not so far. And it was kind of a good test. They still do it now. They don't do quite the long list, but they still do it. And it's a great way for people to test their home stations.
It also lets you discover some repeaters maybe that you didn't even know were online.
Right.
Brand new.
Yep.
Join if there's no such thing, check out that repeater crawl in Wayne County. Maybe model your own if you have a couple of repeaters around. It can be really fun. Check in with the repeater trustees too on anything that you're going to do on repeaters. Make sure that it's kosher before you execute on the plan.
Okay, we're now going to start to go into our final segment here, which is we're going to start looking into the crystal ball. These are wild card predictions for 2026. And the first one here is going to be, of course, in all the buzz in 2025, and it will carry into 2026. We talked a little bit about this before, but will AI change how we operate and become more of an influence in 2026?
Was there a collective groan from the audience when we said AI?
There was a collective groan from this station here.
Yeah, AI fatigue is real.
Well, I think when we had Sebastian on the show a couple of months or so back, he mentioned figuring. We kind of asked him that in a kind of roundabout way, and he's trying to think about, as his Polo platform, how to make things easier, and AI will answer some of those questions rather. You know, have the sound card on your iPad listening to the contact you're making, and it'll know that you're working a call sign and it'll log the call sign. You know, that's all stuff that's out there somewhere. Cool. So I think you have the smart logging as a thought there. I think that's somewhere we'll see it. I'm not sure. I'm still we're at work like a lot of companies trying to figure out how to best use and how to also control the use of AI within our company, and it's still new to me. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
James, what are you thinking on this?
I think the answer is, to quote Jim here, I don't really see it yet in 2026. I think AI is still new to a lot of people. I think sort of the existing demographic of ham radio maybe doesn't lend itself to AI. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just maybe not an audience that is adopting AI at a rapid rate here, and that's all I mean by that. So no. Do I see it in the future of ham radio and everything we do in our life? Yes. Do I think the current AI bubble in the workplace and everywhere else is going to sort of, I don't want to say burst, but slow down and become more of less of a buzzword and more of just kind of a thing?
It's another tool that you use, right?
Do.
It's an expected tool that you end up using. And I think that's exactly right, James. We speculated that in one of our first 2 episodes, I believe, we speculated on what AI could bring to the radio. So it's funny to bring this around again at the end of the first year of this. Yeah. And I still remain very interested in how we can use that for the purposes of filtering, for the purposes of noise control, for the purposes of pulling difficult to intel signals out of noise like that. So I think there's a lot of research that could still be used there, but I also am. It's not magic, right? The longer we spend with AI, the more we realize that it's been trained on a data set that is very human, and what that has done is sort of illuminate my level of understanding that AI is only as smart as the folks that it has read from and learned from. So it'll be really curious to see what this continues to bring. But I don't know if we're going to see like those dramatic AI controlled features or anything like that. I agree with James a lot on this. It's going to be a tool that is expected to be used. It should help us develop software for ham radio quicker. But yeah, I don't think there's going to be.
We're going to the last question here.
Okay.
I do think one advantage for ham radio is it will help your club send more concise and to the point email messages that are readable for the mass audience.
Oh, God.
There you go. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
So communicate better with AI.
There you go.
The more you know.
Last question here, guys. You ready? It is, will Rory and Jim get their amateur extra license in 2026?
Oh boy, it was definitely one of those things that I think we started the year really fired up about. And the funny thing about it, and I almost made a joke earlier on when somebody said that if you don't like cold weather POTA, well, 6 months out of your year would be shot, right? The funny thing in Michigan is once it gets warm here, there are a number of things we're trying to fit in all summer long. That's camping and socializing and radio and vacations, and we really do try to make the most of it. And I did not get my head in the game, in the book, to do the real reading and the research that I needed to do to pass my extra. I've false started in ham study twice on my extra.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm not at a point where I would be able to pass it yet. So I do look forward to getting it, and it is still something that is very, very at the forefront of my head. I would be lying if I said that I wasn't trying, but it's not at a point where I would be able to score them.
So 2026, Jim.
I like it. I'm going to go for 2026.
Okay, Rory.
We'll see.
That's a fair answer.
Here's
Rory.
Here's the thing. Okay, so Jim painted it out very clearly. You know, and we've all discussed this. You get a little bit more bandwidth to use with the extra license than you do with the general license. You
100%.
get to talk to your friends who decide to do POTA activations for unknown reasons on the extra portion of the bands. Okay,
Great on contest weekends.
It's good on contest weekends if that's what you're doing.
Yes,
but the incentive is not really there for me. I'll do it at some point. I've studied enough that it would probably honestly would take me a month of 6 weeks of hard studying, and I would be there.
Yep.
Not even a problem, but it just needs to be done. We'll get there. We'll get there someday. Something that's on my mind for getting into now, and it may become a bigger focus for me than getting my extras. I've gotten the bug.
Oh, I know.
To start playing CW.
Yep.
So, that's got my attention really since we talked to the SOTA guys a couple months ago on the podcast. I've thought about it more and more, and even though I'm not going to be climbing any summits, I think I would. There's a lot of days I'd like to just sit here and bang at the keys. So we'll see. That's the answer.
And I want to make one point clear here. There is nothing wrong with being a technician. That's awesome. Being a general is awesome. Being an extra is awesome. All three levels are great, and whatever works for you is where you should be. The only reason I ask Rory and Jim this constantly is, A, I know they know the material, and they just have to put a little bit of studying in there, and B, they talk about it themselves also quite a bit, that's something they want to pursue. So I will continue to challenge them on when they will do it.
I do have to renew my license, which means another 10 years has gone by. I do have to renew in March. Yes. So I will have been a licensed ham for a long time at that point. That's nice. Exciting.
Nice.
So, okay. There we are. There are bold predictions for 2026 and beyond. I think we got some good ones in there. We'll see if they come true. Maybe what we do is next December, instead of rambling for, I think, about 50 minutes here, we'll just come back and quickly visit. Did those predictions come true?
Yeah.
But hopefully you guys found those interesting. I'd love, again, to know what everyone thinks is going to happen in 2026.
I was going to say, be brutally honest in the comments. Yep. If you think we were way off on something, let us know. If you think we were on par with something, let us know. If you have ideas of your your own, let us know. Let us know in the comments below, or join our Discord and chat with us there. We're there every day. So
I got
want to hear from you.
I got one last thing for you guys, because we usually do this, and I think we missed it this time. I want to call out a few folks in the community of Everyday Ham. And so, good evening if you've made it this far, gentlemen. I hope you did. To N1RWJ, Rob, who has been very active in the Discord the last month, and we love having his input in the channel there. And I also want to call out Caleb, KF0UPB, who came to the Discord with a problem. Not a problem so much as a suggestion. And he actually helped us make the Everyday Ham podcast a little bit more accessible to you folks that are listening to podcasts here on YouTube. So a couple of awesome community members who had jumped in and have been chatting with us there on Discord. If you have ideas, bring them to us. We are very open to it. If you've noticed, the schedule for Everyday Ham has sort of accelerated. We are trying to release 4 videos a month at this point. One being the
YouTube.
Podcast on the old YouTube.
Yep.
So there is a lot of bonus content coming out on there. So if you have good ideas, we would welcome those. But I wanted to make sure we took a few moments to recognize a couple of community members, because we do appreciate everybody that comes and hangs out with us there in the Everyday Ham Pod community.
We sure do. All right. So with that, everyone, thank you very much. I hope you have a very happy holidays. I hope you have a great New Year's if we don't talk to you. And with that, 73s.
73.
That's it for today's Everyday Ham. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep enjoying the hobby.